Okay guys, welcome to another video of mine. If you're a regular on the channel, you will probably know that I tend to concentrate on sort of 8-bit systems. I do look at 16-bit as well, but primarily most of the time I give are to the sort of classic 8-bit systems. Now, it got me thinking just the other day there, I was sitting in my games room and I was sort of perusing the various systems that I've got, and it just dawned on me how little attention or, videos I actually, excuse, I'm going to turn this down a wee bit. It just struck me how few videos I actually make of the original 32-bit consoles, the PlayStation, Sega Saturn, which isn't right. I always kind of thought of the PlayStation as not being a retro system, excuse me, but it's now well over 20 years old, so what I thought I would do is, I'm not putting together a top 10 of the best PlayStation games. I'm going to put together 10 of the games that I enjoyed back in the day. I mean, there was literally so many thousand games. So, to kick things off, let's take a look at Crash Bandicoot. Now, these are not in any particular order at all. So, let's try and start this. Rather shamefully, I've got to say, I think the last time I had this PlayStation on was probably well over a year ago. Which is just utter nonsense. Now, I remember seeing a review of this game, or was it a preview possibly, in one of the PlayStation magazines. It was probably the official PlayStation mag, and it was kind of being touted as being the sort of the PlayStation's Mario 64, which we probably know it's not, but it's still a really nice game. Ah, bollocks. And I've still never got any better at it. Now, this game did spawn quite a few sequels. I'm not sure how many it was. And I think the idea was just to collect the... is it apples, I think, is it? I've got a minute if I jump underneath that. No, can I not jump underneath that thing? Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, for the time, this was just amazing looking. I mean, even now, it still looks really nice. Now, you can't destroy the metal ones. Right, checkpoint. Multicoloured tortoise thing. Wait a minute, I'm just going to... the screen looks very dark. Yeah, that's slightly better looking, I think. Just made it a wee bit brighter. But yeah, it's... if you looked at a game like this now, you would be thinking, what was all the fuss about? But you just need to try and remember that probably just a year before this game out, we were still playing 16-bit and 8-bit. I mean, there were still people playing the Spectrum and Commodore 64. So a game like this just looked unbelievable. It really was. It was like the future. And we're on to the next level. Yeah, really nice. Now, I think Sony did try to kind of market Crash Bandicoot, the little character, as being the sort of the PlayStation's version of Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't think it really quite achieved that sort of sense of fame. But I said there were quite a few games with featuring them. They're all really good. So anyway, that is Crash Bandicoot. Let's take a look at something else. Right, this next one, Destruction Derby. This is the game that really kicked off the PlayStation for me. I bought my PlayStation from Toys R Us, which was probably the most expensive place you can go to buy any video games, certainly in the UK. I got that, and I got Destruction Derby with it. We'll go for Speedway to begin with. And yeah, I remember just, you know, my jaw literally hit the floor when I got this thing home. You know, I'd gone from, you know, I mean, I think at that point I had a PC which probably had a 3D type card in it, but to actually be able to play a game that looked this good on a big TV, it was literally like having an arcade in my living room. And even wee touches, like as you go round the corner here, the corner here, you'll see a little sort of replay, not a replay, you'll see a wee camera, see it up there. I mean, you know, that just, things like that you just didn't get in games. So to see special effects like that in a game like this was just amazing. Now yeah, the PlayStation, I've always kind of said that I didn't think the PlayStation had aged particularly well, and I kind of still stand by that. I mean, yeah, games do look very, very kind of blocky looking, but to take nothing away from, you know, just what Sony achieved with the PlayStation. I mean, there's quite a few glitches in this game. You can sort of, like, when you go around corners, you can see the sort of the walls kind of break like that. You can see the car going through it, but you know what? None of that mattered back in whenever it was when I first got this. I mean, looking at this game now, it's actually it's not a particularly good game. It doesn't drive particularly well. It's quite a shallow game, but you know what? Just having the ability to be able to smash stuff, it's just awesome. It really was. And a few laps to go. But I says, playing this on a big TV in your living room, it was just like, wow. And I think Destruction Derby was one of the release titles. There was also Tekken, which I did get a few weeks later, or maybe a month later. I mean, these games were 40 quid. And Jumping Jack, if you remember that one, that was a kind of 3D sort of platformery type game. Like, let's come out of that for a second. Exit. Yeah, I mean, this game had different modes. You've got race mode. Then my favourite was Destruction Derby itself. You're actually inside a sort of the bowl, and it's basically just trying to smash. It was trying to stay alive as long as you can. So what was it? It was called Destruction Derby, I think it is. Let's just go for race practice. Now you see there, what do you call it? Multiplayer. I think you could use a cable and you could link up machines. I never actually tried that. Never ever tried that at all. Where Sony really played an ace card was they actually introduced PlayStations into like clubs, nightclubs. And what was a mark of genius, they, you know, when they were bringing out games like Wipeout, they actually paid for like topical groups like Orbital to make music. So you were getting proper groups making music for games, which just appealed to that generation of kids. And I think that's a massive part of why the PlayStation went on to be such a successful platform. Right, choose your car. Oh, okay. Yeah, funny, people were, I made a video about the Neo Geo and people were talking about the loading, saying, oh, I couldn't put up with the loading. But, you know, we had loading back in the PlayStation days as well, you know, and it's something that really doesn't bother me. You know, maybe this current generation now, they're used to everything just being instant. But to an old fart like myself, having to wait a few seconds for loading doesn't bother me at all. So yeah, this particular thing is you've got to try and survive as long as you can whilst smashing up other people. Now you do get points for spinning cars around, so if you can try and hit a car, clip it on an end. Now what you don't want to do is what I've just done here, is get boxed in, because then they'll all just come smashing into you. I'm not doing too well. Now you'll see the wee sort of picture of the car at the bottom. I think when a bit gets to red, that's when you're all ready to die. Right, anyway, listen, that's the Destruction Derby. Let's crack on. Right, this next one, International Track and Field. Anyone that watches the channel will know I love Track and Field, the arcade game, and so it was like a dream come true to get a game like this on, you know, next generation hardware like the PlayStation. I did give this a lot of airplay back in the day. It's not particularly easy to play because you've got to use, or can you use the buttons again? I can't remember actually. Right, let's stick my name in. Apologies about the sound, guys, because obviously I'm just using my phone here to record both the TV. As you've probably not, you've already guessed, I'm actually using a proper PlayStation here. I'm not using an emulator at all. I never ever emulate the PlayStation. I mean, I know you can probably get a spiffing emulator for it, but I prefer real hardware for something like this. Yeah, we'll go for Canada. Alright, tap the buttons as fast as you can. Is it going to show me what buttons it is? Hopefully. Maybe not. Right, this will be fun.
Number 1 in the world. On your mark.
Because I've got absolutely no idea what buttons I need to press. So I'm the guy on the left hand side. I think I'm only there we go.
The time was 2.40 seconds.
What was the time? Was that outside the time? It would actually help if I knew what buttons it was to begin with. Right, so I'm out, I think. Disqualification. Right, let's start again. Should get it this time. But I used to cane this game something silly. There was another game actually, track and field game I used to play as well. Is it Olympic? Something or another, can't remember exactly what it was called.
Set.
That's a wee bit better. It's not the easiest thing actually, because you've got to use the two fingers in one hand. Not like track and field where you can use two hands. Yeah, I mean this game does look particularly crude on an LCD TV. It really does, but... Right, now how do we jump? I'm going to be guessing here.
Who will be number 1 in the world? First attempt.
Right, okay, so I've got the buttons, just need to get the timing right.
Second attempt. title.
Ah, come on. I'm going to boot again if I don't manage it this time.
The distance was
Well, it's a jump.
126 meters.
And it's all over. Yeah, that's international track and field. Let's batter on, guys. Right, this next one. This is actually a compilation. Apologies about the screen flickering. I think it's just the TV's struggling to get the RGB picture going here. I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah, this is a compilation. What was it called? Namco Museum. There was quite a few of these. I think there were 6 in total. Now, it doesn't sound like a big deal, you know, nowadays, because we've got MAME, etc. We've had compilations for years, but back when the PlayStation came out, there was no such thing. I'm going to turn that down a wee bit. You know, you didn't have MAME back then, so the only way to play arcade games was to go to the arcade, and then Namco decided to release these compilations. Now let's go in. You can see here this one's all in Japanese because some of them were only released in Japan. I've got absolutely no idea what I'm meant to be doing here. Oh, it doesn't matter me put my name in, let's just stick in anything. Yeah, and having the ability to be able to play arcade perfect versions of some of your favourite arcade games was just like a dream come true. This is Namco Museum 6. Now the reason I'm showing this one is because it's got one of my favourite arcade games. It's not King and Balloon, never heard of that one. I've heard the Moto, never played it. Sky Kid, I remember people used to play it a lot. There it is here, Rolling Thunder. I love that game to bits. Used to play all the time in Bathgate Arcade when I was at college. And so to be able to play the arcade perfect version of this in the living room was just amazing. Really, really amazing. I think the first one, I think it featured like Pole Position, Pac-Man, all the Namco games. There we go, right, Rolling Thunder, how do we start? There we are. Now, I know right away that because of jump, fire, okay, got it. Gotcha. Now, I don't know what kind of emulation they're using here, but, you know, the PlayStation is not what you would really regard as a powerhouse for emulating stuff. And the fact that this is emulating a game as well as it is just incredible. You get. I just hesitated far too much there. It always takes me a wee while to learn what button's what. Love this game. Sorry, I'm just getting a bit carried away actually. I'll play one game of this. He just doesn't want to die, that wee guy. The music was what made this game for me. I mean, it's a great game, but the music just really, really helped to ramp up the atmosphere. But yeah, to be able to play this game on my PlayStation is just incredible. Shoot him, then jump down. Ah, bugger. That was close. Don't shoot for the wee guy with the gun. He's still alive. Dead now. Yeah, it's just amazing. Come on, you. Just need to be patient with this game. Whoa! Oh, we're close, Gov. There we go. Yeah, that's Rolling Thunder, and that is Namco Museum 6. Really great series of games. You know, it was the only way to play arcade games on your PlayStation. So let's move on. Right, this next one, it's a classic. It's Road Rash. This was obviously a port of the Mega Drive original. Never actually got to play in the Mega Drive. I mean, I didn't own a Mega Drive until way later. I can't remember when exactly it was. It was years later before I owned a Mega Drive. But I was delighted to see the game get ported to the PlayStation. And I've got to say, they've done a cracking job. I mean, you know, going from the version in the Mega Drive, which I'd obviously seen pictures of, this one just looked total photorealistic. The idea of the game is to basically, whoops a daisy, win the race. You're obviously up against other racers, but the novel thing is you can, wow, bugger, you can hit them. You can pick up weapons, or else you can just use your fists and batter them. Now it does, is it got a distance? I'm just trying to see where it is. Is that, I'm trying to see, there is, I thought there was a bit that says distance. But again, the graphics, you know, looking at them now, they look pretty crap, but back in, whenever it was, I don't know when it was, 1994, something like that, this just looked incredible. I mean, it's kind of digitised graphics. You know, that was about as photorealistic as it got back then. So yeah, you can punch. You got to avoid the traffic as well. Some really nice kind of sweeping hills though. Oh, so that was quite a good effect actually. You didn't actually know what was going to be over the other side. And it also moves at a fair lick as well. Right, let's try and actually knock somebody off. Let's see if we can get him. We'll kick. Nope, just ran over somebody. And again. Now one thing you do get, balls, you do also get pursued with the police. Now there's two things, that's me pulled over. I've been caught. Yeah, even stuff like this, you know, full motion video, that was cutting edge. I've never seen anything like that before, you know, so there was no need for that. But yeah, an absolute epic game, that is Road Rash. Let's crack on. Yeah, I could not feature this game. It's going to be a new game. Original, yeah, let's just go for that. Yeah, I remember getting this game back in 1996, I think it was. I'd actually just moved house, and I think we still had stuff to unpack. And I got this, and I spent a whole Saturday playing it. And I remember phoning my mate who came up to see the game, and it was we had our minds blown with just how amazing this game was. Right, we're not going to sit and go through all that. I mean, there were games that came out before this. Was it Alone in the Dark? I think it was. That's always kind of credited with being the first survival horror, but I think this is the game that really put survival horror on the map.
I don't know what happened.
Barry, where's Barry?
I mean, it's got some of the worst voice
Well, I'm
acting
sorry.
you've ever heard,
Probably.
but it didn't matter.
No. What is that?
I'll go and check. Okay, Jill and I will stay in the
I
hall.
mean, the graphics are pretty terrible. The voice acting is awful. The controls are even worse, but you know what? It's still a great game.
Chris,
Be careful.
take care.
Okay, take care. It's been a while since I've played it. I don't think you could ever actually skip the cutscenes. Now this was quite clever. They had the doors opening, which allowed the machine to actually load the next level. The controls in this, they're described as having tank controls. Left and right turns you rotate, pushing forward makes you move forwards. Now I think, is it square makes you run? Yeah, there you go. But there was always anticipation of what lay the other side of a door. You just never knew what you were going to get into. Now that was scary, it really was. You know, it may look slightly laughable now, but then that was just awesome. Now this is where, let's see, how do I do that? Equip. Yep, okay. Now how do I use it again? Oh, there we go. So we come on. Ah! Ah, get off. I'm almost dead. Come on. Why am I not killing him? Yeah, skills are slightly rusty. But you know what? It's a great game. Yeah, it has dated badly. It really has. You know, it doesn't look good now, but there's plenty HD remakes out there. I'd probably, normally you would say no, you should stick with the original, but I think you could this game. I think you could actually do worse than playing one of the sort of HD remakes, because you're still going to get the same atmosphere, but you're just going to get better graphics. But yeah, that's a classic game. It's an absolutely classic. Started, for my mind, it started the whole survival horror. And I still remember, I wish I could show you it, but obviously it's going to take a bit of playing. Still remember the classic dog jumping through the glass. But it was the first real jump scare. So yeah, let's batter on. Right, okay, next one up is the classic Tekken. Now, I've gone for Tekken 3 because I do apologise. It's just my TV. It's trying to lock in on a mode. Once you actually start, you're okay, but it seems to do that on the sort of title screens. I don't know why. It's rather annoying. Once you start the game itself's always absolutely fine. It seems to be the title screens that it kind of jumps about.
Round one.
But yeah, this game was just, again, incredible. You know, we'd gone from playing Street Fighter, and here we were playing this three-dimensional game in our living room. Now, I've never been a fan of beat-em-ups, but I used to love Tekken because I could literally just hammer the buttons.
Round two. Fight.
The one thing that is really special about Tekken as well is when you actually when you got all the way through an arcade using a character, you would get his you would get a little sort of full motion video story. And again, that was all brand new back in 1994, whenever it was, and it was jaw dropping to actually see it.
Round one. Fight.
Even now, this game still looks really, really nice. Yeah, you can kind of juggle them in the air, you get bigger points. I mean, I don't think Tekken was ever really the game of choice for true sort of beat 'em up fans. But I loved it. I always felt it was easier to play than like your Street Fighters and that kind of stuff. And it always looked really nice as well.
You win.
If that law is not Bruce Lee, I'll eat my hat.
Round one. Fight.
I think the purists always go for the 2D versions. Saying that, when you go to any of these gaming events, the game that they all play now is it Street Fighter 6, whatever it's called. You know, so yeah, maybe they're finally moving over to the 3D side of things. So yeah, that's Tekken 3, an absolute classic franchise, and it still looks and plays just as well now as it did back then. So let's batter on. Right, this is Formula 1 by Psygnosis. This was probably the first kind of game on the PlayStation that I got absolutely obsessed with. When I first saw the review, again, probably the official PlayStation magazine, it just looked astonishing. The graphics looked photorealistic. You know, going from a PC to this, it just looked unbelievable. Now I can remember going through to Edinburgh, getting the bus to Edinburgh to buy this. I bought it, I think it was Virgin Megastore. And to my mind, it's still my favourite Formula 1 game. I've tried various versions. I mean, I've got Formula 1 on the PS4, but this is the one I always come back to. I mean, I'm saying coming back to, I've not played this one for quite a while, but it just felt the complete game. The playability, there's not too much tinkering, it's quite kind of arcadey, but you could also play almost like real time. I mean, I used to play this, I used to play like the full Grand Prix, and it would take hours and hours and hours and hours. But what I loved about this, and I mean, I dare say other ones have got this as well, each lap you can see if you're gaining or getting caught, and it was just awesome. The whole Formula 1 experience, the racing, they just encapsulated it perfectly. So it'd be interesting to see how it feels now. I mean, I've not played this for quite a long time. There were, I think it was at Formula 1 96 and possibly Formula 1 98 came out as well. Right, let's start. But for me, it was this very, very, very first version that I just thought was awesome. I mean, you could tailor your thing, you could see the weather, you've got tyre wear, damage and that kind of stuff. You can tweak the car, but I never really bothered too much about that. Right, let's just jump in. I just know for a fact all the music going on, there's going to be copyright. You know, it's actually rather poignant and sad when you see there Michael Schumacher. I mean, nobody even knows how the guy is. Yeah, and what I loved about this as well is it was all the real names as well. Damon Hill was in there. I mean, I think was it '96 when Damon Hill won the championship? I think it was. But yeah, but I played this. I would hate to think how many hours I must have put into this game. It just brings it back. Even just seeing the loading screen and seeing the wee spinning disc. And one big thing for me as well is it's got the commentary of Murray Walker.
Now here at Hockenheim, Germany. One, two, three. They're ready for the on. And it's go, go, go. Straight down towards turn one they come. Look at that. Unsure of the
Just even now, although yeah, it does look blocky and that, you feel like you're actually taking part in F1. So does it. And this was when, obviously, we now take for granted having commentaries and FIFA and that kind of stuff, but back in '96, you know, it was pretty much unheard of. And it wasn't too difficult because I've tried some of these more modern ones and I can't even get one lap round the track and I lose patience. But this one, it was never too difficult. So anyway, yeah, that is Formula 1. That is an iconic game for me. To my mind, it's still the best Formula 1 game. I dare say there's way better ones out there, but I've tried a few of them and I still keep coming back to that one. So that's Formula 1, that was by Psygnosis. Right, next one up is the classic Wipeout. This was released in 1994. This was one of the launch titles. And what a launch title it was. It's one of these games, it took quite a bit of mastering. When you first play it, you're just all over the place. And again, I think you could link up machines. Was it split screen? I think it was link up actually. Yeah, let's just go for single race. But again, as I said earlier on, it was the music that really got people interested in it. I mean, Sony put these machines into clubs, and people, instead of dancing, they were playing the PlayStation. Then, you know, so they're basically getting people who are not gamers to actually take an interest in it, and then they were probably going and buying a PlayStation. So it was a mark of genius doing that, and especially getting all the kind of cutting edge bands, you know, current bands, to write music for it. It made, you know, this game kind of help make gaming popular. It made it cool. You know, prior to that, it was little nerds and geeks that played with their Spectrums and their Amigas. But this game, it brought gaming to the masses. It got people who never normally played games to actually play games. Now this will be fun. This is insanely tough, this game. Now I know the second one so you need to use the shoulder buttons. The second game, it made it slightly easier because when you hit the edge, you didn't stop suddenly like you do in this one. You can see that when you hit the wall, you just stop. But even, you know, blocky graphics aside, it still looks really, really nice. Whoa! Still quite stomach churning. Got some weapons. I think the blue ones, do they speed you up? I think they do. Because one of these games, the more you played it, you got to know the track, you got to know just how to turn, etc. Absolutely awesome. I mean, me and my mates just used to do time trials in this. I mean, I'm terrible at it at the moment, as you can probably tell. But when you got to master the controls, you really, it was special. I think this was the first real jaw-dropping moment when, you know, when you saw this game running, you just couldn't believe what you were actually seeing. Just staggering looking, it really was. I think generally, is it Wipeout 1997? Is it 1997? 2009? I can't remember what it's called. The second one, I think, is generally regarded as the best Wipeout game. There was a really nice Wipeout that got released for actually the PSP and also the PS3. If you get a chance to play that, have a look. I'm not talking, guys, because I'm trying to concentrate. But anyway, yeah, listen, that's Wipeout. Absolutely beautiful game. Let's crack on. Right, guys, very last game I'm going to take a look at is Ridge Racer. Now, this one here, this is actually, it was a promotional disc. I apologise again about the screen flickering. Once we start, it should be okay. It was a promotional disc. I don't know whether it was given away or whatever, but it actually had a turbo mode of Ridge Racer. If we just stop for a second, you can see the original Ridge Racer, and you've got the turbo mode, which is 60 frames a second. So let's give that one a go. Now, the original obviously wasn't 60 frames a second, so let's just have a wee shot and see how good this is. But Ridge Racer, wow, what a game, what a game. I mean, the thing is, Ridge Racer, it was still in the arcades. When this came out, and so to be able to play an arcade game in your house when the actual arcade game was still around was just mental. Right, let's go turbo mode. So this is 60 frames a second. 3, 2, 1, go! Wow, what a start! This is just what I wanted to see. And the fact that a PlayStation can play a game like this at 60 frames a second. It just shows you just what. This definitely does feel and look quite a bit quicker than I remember it to be. Whoa! I actually used to be no bad at this game.
Corner's up. Watch yourself.
Oh, come on. It's all about learning the power sliding, but I've completely forgotten it. But the beauty of Ridge Racer was, I mean, there was only really the one track, but you could play it in reverse, and I think could you unlock bits? I can't remember exactly, but it was all about just time trials, you know, beating your best time. So that's the last game I'm going to feature, guys. I mean, you know, where would you start? There were so many. I don't know how many games were released for the PlayStation. It must have ran to thousands. There was a lot of garbage that was released for it, a lot of shovelware, but a lot of amazing games. Now I've only scratched the surface. I mean, there's games like Pro Evolution Soccer, Tomb Raider. I mean, the first Tomb Raider was, again, jaw-dropping. The first time you saw that T-Rex when you went round the corner was just insane. So many good games. The original Doom on this was awesome. Definitely worth checking out. Just amazing console. And again, it's one that I've really not played much over the last, I don't know, last 10 years. But there's just some incredible games for it, you know, so you definitely need to go and give it much love. So anyway, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I plan to do another one of these probably for the Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, because I have been neglecting these systems and I really need to make amends. So as usual, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching it, and thanks for watching.